Alrighty, let me get some chat up here. Mute this. How's everybody doing? I am just completely figuring out how this streaming thing works. It's gonna be really professional in the future, but for now I'm just trying to find out why OBS is not showing me my chat. The good stuff. Yeah, it's been 5 years since I streamed. All right, I got a chat. It's working. I can move this. Perfect. What's up, everybody? I'm doing good. I just ate some lasagna, and I'm excited to be streaming. It was a bunch of stuff to figure out today. Like, apparently my screen doesn't have the right cable to go into my laptop now, so now I have a huge TV sitting right here. How's the audio and everything? But in the future I'll have like the right cables and everything. It will be nice. Yeah, the true gamer setup for sure. We are listening to some Minute soundtrack by Yukio Kallio, by the way. Welcome, everybody. I barely can't believe it works. This is great. So just to summarize really quickly, what I want to do here is start a streaming series where I play through games I've worked on and talk about game design. It's very straightforward, but I think it will be interesting. Today is kind of like the pilot, where we'll be playing through some really old freeware games that I've made as a teenager, and we'll just, you know, talk about them in hindsight, critique them about, you know, what it was like when I made them, what I was thinking at the time. But in the future, the idea is that we'll move on to real games, you know. So start out with Super Great Box, work through the Blender games, play Minute, and eventually Disc Room or whatever else comes out in the future, right? And just, you know, give them a real playthrough and just talk about it like a real Let's Player. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Every game is a real game. That's true, but some real games are real bad games. I will try saving the videos and put them on YouTube. Can you say that word on Twitch? I don't know if I'll get banned. I don't know the rules. But, you know, technology is not my best friend, so we'll see if that works out. Alrighty. So I have a list of games that I want to try playing today. Starting with Gregg the Egg, which is like a Metroidvania platformer. Then we'll play some Pro Killer Man, Assgame, Extreme Gardening, Futurebike, Jupiter Showdown, If You Really Want It You Can Fly, Violent Diarrhea, Unicorn, The Gutter, 10,800 Zombies, jwrpg, Coptra, and Atomic Super Boss. So this is just a selection of kind of pre-Vlambeer games that I've worked on, that I've released. Most of them are finished games, some of them were kind of abandoned. They're not my first games necessarily, because I won't be able to stream my first games. Like, the soundtracks were songs that I had on my computer by bands that I liked, you know, not 100% how you should go about those things. There was a thing called Napster back in the day. That was how you got your game soundtracks. So I'm not going to be streaming those, but you'll probably be able to find all my old stuff somewhere on the internet if you're really interested. But A lot of it is terrible. We did finish jwrpg. It's called Nuclear Throne. Don't worry. Yeah, so a lot of this stuff is gonna be kind of interesting to see in context to later titles and stuff. And I also decided to not show some games right now because they might be, you know, kind of the inspiration to other titles. Like I made a bunch of bad first-person shooters before we made Gun Gods. I'll try and play those all in a row, which could be cool. So I think we should just get started. There's a lot of games to get through. So first one on the docket, is it called the docket, is Gregg the Egg. And I hope I can find that way to mute the soundtrack. Alright. Also, if like my camera location or whatever is not any good, let me know. I'm looking for those hot tips. And you're allowed to backseat the hell out of everything because I made these games. You literally cannot backseat me. Alright. Gregg the Egg. Are you gonna talk about the one guy who did speedruns of Gregg the Egg? Yes. This is like one of the rare games. Wait, listen to those tunes. Gregg the Egg. Credits. It literally doesn't do anything. We're gonna get a lot of unfinished options. Also doesn't do anything. It looks like a real menu, right? That's the most important thing. I think I made this game about 15 or 16 years ago. So around 2005-ish probably. It was one of my first big finished games. It's a full Metroidvania. It was very much inspired by let's just start playing. Whatever. What? Alright, that's the egg. Very much inspired by Super Stickman Escape, which were awesome games by Mehdi Thorson. I think they were also just straight up Metroid clones, but I was impressed someone was making Metroid in Game Maker. So this is Gregg, the egg. You can move with the arrow keys. Beware of the boogeyman. So yeah, here, let's talk about game design right away. So the first puzzle right away in this game is that there's an enemy here. You only have 1 health. And he's off screen, and then you die. Like, that's just the first thing you have to figure out. What's up, Nick? Welcome to the stream. So, yeah, slope physics for sure. So that's like one of those things where, as a kid, I was like, alright, let's just put a puzzle right at the start. But I think for most players, that was right away the point where they decided, alright, I'm not playing this. This is unfair. How do I solve this? It was kind of terrible. So what you're supposed to do here, which I knew because I made the game, but nobody else knew, is wait for this off-screen enemy to appear and then run for your life. It's like the hardest puzzle in the whole game, right at the start. And then you can get away. And I think eventually in the game, I'm not sure if I'm gonna like try and 100% this yet. But eventually you can get revenge on the boogeyman for being such an annoying thing right at the start. Right. You can now jump. So it's kind of an evolution based thing where you grow and become a full thing. Yeah, this game runs terribly too. I think most things are gonna run terribly until I figure out a more perfect setup. But it's gonna help me make these really hard jumps right at the start. So the music in this game was made, I think, by Tim Forsyth, who was a friend of mine who did a lot of MIDI music for stuff. I like the music here, but it's a 30-second loop for a game that takes you like 2 hours to play or something. So I'm just gonna see if I can put on something else. How does this work? Also, because of my terrible setup today, I don't have a mouse. I have to use my laptop's touchpad because I didn't have enough USB ports. It's all super professional today. Alright. Let's put on some minute soundtrack. Alright, don't be curious. Oh yeah, here's a pit. If you jump in it, you die. After doing that whole big jumping thing. Alright, let's save. That's something I would do differently too. Now if I made a game like this, I would just have it auto-save everywhere. Use space to check the map. Well, now I have a map. So I think this game runs terribly because every frame it saves like a bitmap image of the map. But that's the map. You don't even see where you are. So that's also nice, but I'm somewhere in that corner on the map. Yeah, that save graphic is cool, right? Brian, I will buy you a new USB cube if I never give it back. Health max +1. Let's go. Oh yeah, there's so much of this in this game where there's like kind of blind jumps where you have to wait for a moving platform or something. And it gets hard right away. Like this is some pretty not nice platforming. See, I already messed it up. Anyway, I'm just skipping through it. But like there's variable height jumping, it never explains you how to do that. So I think my main issue right now with the game is that it needs nicer tutorialization, but still for a 15-year-old this is a big game, you know. I was really happy with it at the time. And then there was this one guy, right now we're getting to the story, who made a whole Let's Play series of it on YouTube. His name was Tele. Is maybe still. And he loved this game. He speed ran it. There's a hard mode even, where you only get 1 health. And all these videos were kind of shot with a handheld camera, I think. So it's like a video footage of his screen. Yeah, they are still on YouTube. I'm gonna, I don't know, maybe I'll link them somewhere. And he had like My Chemical Romance songs playing in the background because no one can listen to this music for hours, right? It's a cool song for 30 seconds. Yeah, so that's Gregg the Egg, and it just keeps on going. Like this map is bigger than the screen, right? I think there's like a solid 2 hours of gameplay in there. There's you get a double jump, but I guess I completed 21% now. I like that it just shows that on the screen. That's kind of a strange decision, but it's kind of a confident move too, right? Like all the info you need, your speedrun timer. Same thing here. There's a moving platform and you just have to wait for it. It's kind of strange. Yeah, that's true. If the music was longer than 30 seconds to download would have been too large back in the time. Yeah, so for all of these old games, there's barely any video footage of them. YouTube wasn't really a thing at the time, or computers able to capture gameplay footage. I don't know what this is, but I'm sure you'll get like an item to use it. Also strange in this game is it just keeps introducing new gameplay mechanics, and sometimes there's signs explaining them and then the text just stays on screen forever. Sometimes there's nothing. This is a big game. I think there was like a secret wall somewhere here. I'm gonna see if we can find it. Later you get like a down smash. Maybe in there, but I don't think I can get it yet. Heavy people might sink. At some point you get an ability to sink. After this game I didn't work on anything Metroidvania like or manage to finish anything until secret wall right here, until we worked on Minute, which was, you know, almost a decade later. I might have just ruined that whole path and have to redo the whole thing. Welcome everybody, we are playing Gregg the Egg, which is a Metroidvania game I made around 2006, I guess. It is not very good, and you can watch a guy called Tele on YouTube play it. I would not recommend this game. There's much better game maker exploration games out there anyway, like Cyclus or Untitled Story or even Super Stickman Escape. We're back here. I'm gonna die. I don't think, like, I'm not one of those streamers who's gonna hardcore it through. If I get frustrated, I'm gonna go to the next game. We have a bunch of stuff to get through, and a lot of it is better than this. Alright, back at the boogeyman. Wait, I just got a gem and I have to do this whole thing over again. Are there still cheats? That's also, a lot of these old games have like cheats built in. If you press like N, it usually goes to the next level. Good recommendation. Yeah, this is also Game Maker. I've only really released stuff made in Game Maker until, you know, Ridiculous Fishing, and then after that back to Game Maker. It was made around the time there was a cave story craze with indies, yeah. That said, I think Cave Story is one of the OG games where everybody was like, wow, this is not fair. No one will ever be able to make something this good. Now I can't go back and save because I jumped through the platform. It's kind of wild how jumping through platforms is an ability in this game. What's that? That's cool foreshadowing though, like you know you're gonna get there at some point. I think I must have been 14 or 15 when I made this. So that's like half a lifetime ago. 100 viewers, welcome everybody. Wow, that's super cool. I'm really happy to hear that there's so much interest in this. I bet, you know, not even 100 viewers or people have seen this game before, you know, all the players counted together. So that's really nice. Greg the Egg and 15-year-old JW is really thankful. Oh yeah, I'm JW, or Jan-Willem Nijman. Let me just introduce myself. I'm a game designer, and I co-founded the indie studio Flambeer back in the day, and I also co-closed it. And I've worked on games like Minute and Disc Room. That's my job, and I'm probably gonna be making games until the day I retire. Owned. Wow, that's that gamer humor. Can I get a, I don't know, can I get an F in the chat? Is that what you say on Twitch? See, that was a good joke. Pretty good. Pretty good. I just got owned by my past self. It's also kind of nice about doing this series is that there's enough time now. Ooh, conveyor belts, but I didn't want to make art for conveyor belts. This is kind of fun, right? Like there's some solid platforming level ideas in here. Like this is all about figuring out the right variable jump height, and it's kind of tense because it's long. Oh no. Well, at least I have extra health. What now? No! That's just mean. That's just mean. Alright. We gotta do this again. We gotta do this again. That needed a save point right in front of where it happened. That's why if you look at like kinda more modern indie games from people who started around the same time, like Terry Kavanagh with VVVVV. The genius is that there's a checkpoint before every point where you can die. Oh no, I'm not gonna make it. That's like where kind of indie game design started to become more modern and like terrible user friendly, which was absolutely lacking for me as a skill at the time. I was just excited to be making games and still kind of not very confident, and just, you know, oh, I made a whole game. That's the point, right? It's a whole thing, it's finished. Now what's next? Alright, we can do this. So imagine playing this while listening to the same 30-second loop over and over again for hours. It's kind of cool. We're gonna hear some more great MIDI soundtracks by Tim Forsyth, who was like super kind to just be making music for my terrible games. Oh no. The Harry Mulish of games, please. Now I think this game, like, all of this stuff was just heavily inspired by the Mehdi Thorsen's games like Jumper, and that was like the good stuff back then. The game maker community was really talented, and I was just really inspired and making lots of terrible stuff. Yes, and now keep going, keep going. Yeah, we did it. Alright, what's this? Jump height increased. Cool. It's a really boring upgrade, I think. A lot of games do it, but I'm not super into it. Now we're back at the start, maybe? I don't know. Let's check the confusing map. Ooh, no, we're somewhere on the left. Alright, let's just go. There's a whole new country out here. Chamber of Death. Entrance fee, 1 gold piece, I guess. So much of this is just like kind of assumed gamer logic. This is totally a disc room, I think. The Chamber of Death. Also, what's kind of important about this game is that I had an absolute blast making it, just clicking bits of level together and never really reiterating or going back. It's just like, let's just keep adding more and see where it ends up. And I think that's still a really good way to make games like this. Ooh, we're going vertical. I like how the map shows the spikes. It's really like impressive. Am I really not possible to continue here until I get another upgrade? You should put that stuff at the start. Oh no. Can I get up there? Let's try. Why is the avocado a safe icon? It's an egg. This whole game is egg themed. I'm gonna spoil the ending, but you become like an adult and lay an egg, and it kind of loops all the way back. Then you're the egg layer. The circle of life. I think there's a platform gonna come down. That's gonna come down. Yeah, there it is. See? Beautiful. Like, imagine playing this game and not having created it, and you just have to kind of figure out that there's something you can do here if you wait for 10 seconds. It's kind of wild. I need more health. Alright, we did this though. What's this? Alright, that's fun. And there's a whole other different puzzle. There should have been a checkpoint there. Whoa, that's just mean. Alright, I'm done. That was Greg the Egg. I tweeted a download link, and I'll put it, you know, in like video descriptions or whatever. That was fun. Alright. What's next? On the list, we have Pro Killer Man, which is gonna be terrible to play with a touchpad. This game is from a few years later, and I think it's also quite a bit better. Music by Joop Aben, who is also still making games. He made a game called Nadia Was Here, which released a few years ago. It was cool. Alright. So this is what do you call it? You play as a hitman who needs to kill people. This is the story. I need you to kill people. Okay. Kill the man in white and get to the exit. Don't kill civilians. Right. I'm the suited this fella. And then you. If you kill the man in white, nothing happens because he deserved it. So now there's a cop. That one, the blue. So what happens every time you kill someone who's not the target? Cops spawn from the cop things, and then how do I restart? Enter. And then also cops become angry when you kill the target, and you just have to kind of use the crowd to get out of there. So now I have to kind of maneuver my way through. This is very like anti-police, as it should be. They're just wildly firing into crowds. It's like a Total Recall or some stuff. Ugh. Sometimes you just run. Oh, sometimes you get shot. This game is just really dumb. All targets must die. Oh, so now there's 2. So it's like a weird, very chaotic puzzle game. Well, the cop killed the target. But it's not bad, right? Like people actually like this. I think I got a few positive responses. It's quite original. I think like maybe the first Assassin's Creed. Whoa, they just shot each other. That's cool. The first Assassin's Creed games might have been coming out around that time or something, and it was like, oh, you can blend into the crowd. And I was like, wow, that's cool. Might be misremembering that. Well, I am screwed. Let's see, you can also just do this. And then lots of cops spawn, but I'm hiding now. So there's a bunch of mechanics. I'm just gonna cheat through this. This one has bodyguards, who I think nothing happens if you kill them, but yeah, if you kill the target, they become super angry. I was younger than 17 when I made this, I think. This was before Vlambeer, like 2 years or something, so I might have been 15 as well. I don't know. I'm not very precise on the... Oh yeah, the bounce on the walls, on the dates. Yeah, you bounce off the walls because I hate doing collision for top-down games. Like even Nuclear Throne and stuff was kind of similar still. Yeah, that was dumb. Cops won't like finding a dead bodyguard. Why not? Everybody loves that stuff. Alright, next level, you can easily avoid enemies. So here you're supposed to kind of circle around. Then there's one that's hard. And then there's one that's even harder. And then you get the ending, which is kind of a very tropey, dumb thing. Where you get the girl. I think a lot of my games at the time were just kind of dumb reflections of gamer culture, which is not good back then. But they're also almost satire, right? Like maybe it was satire, but it wasn't very effective satire. But I would not make something like this again. I do still love very chaotic games though. Like I like relying on that random and just making a mess and having players deal with it is fun. Like not everything has to be exact and clean and so let's play assgame. People were talking about I want to be the guy when they saw Gregg the Egg. Wait till you see assgame. I made this intentionally with the idea of making the hardest platformer ever made. Beautiful title screen by I'm 9 today. I made the music, I think, which you can tell. This game is gonna be good. I'm not gonna start a new studio now that Vlambeer has closed. I'm just working with different individuals really as individuals on games. Like Minute was together with Kitty Callis, Dominic Johan, and Yukio Collier, and we just credited it like that. Disc Room was also with Kitty Callis and Terry Velman and Dose One. And I think I love working like that, and I'm gonna keep doing that for a while probably. So assgame, let me pitch you this game, and I hope after this stream that some like Maso Core platformer fans are gonna pick it up, because this one might be worth playing. Look at that cool lightning. Arrow keys to walk. Press up to jump. So the whole level is dark unless you jump, then there's like a lightning bolt. But there's a twist. So yeah, it's gonna get super hard. So you can double jump, but it costs you health. So I think all the levels are designed to really, you know, you have to do the perfect amount of double jumps or you will die. So like, that's a really hard jump, right? It's very, I want to be the guy. Why are you going right? Maybe I'm not supposed to go, I don't know. Let's see, there's a flag halfway through. Oh no. Yeah? I think. So that's also a thing. Every flag has a checkpoint to see if you have enough hearts. So I need 6 hearts when I get here or I die. So that's assgame. I am absolutely incapable of beating this game now. I've forgotten all the stuff. If someone wants to take on the challenge, go for it. At the end of every level there's a golden ass. And then I think the full ending, when you get to the boss, if you don't want to get spoiled, you want to mute this now. Because in 3, 2, 1, you get crushed by a giant golden ass. That's the game. It's very dumb, but I had a lot of fun making it. And what I like about the design as well, it has all these really hard levels, but you can play them in any order. The music is terrible, I'm sorry. I was learning, I think it's Musagi by Dr. Petter, who also made SFXR, which is an awesome tool to create sound effects. I think I'm supposed to go on the roof here or something. So other games that really inspired me around this time were Ikiki's game is a Japanese indie developer. Drop straight down, right? That's right. Who made games like Nikujin, which is still one of the best indie games ever made, I think. Oh, there's also spikes that you can't see, so like the lava is just the start. I don't know. I think this is kind of a funny concept. It's just not super well executed, and also there was no way at the time that I was gonna reach the people who loved I Wanna Be the Guy, right? Like, how do you even find an audience like that? Alright, let's try level 3. Yeah, Nikujin as in meat person. It's a game about a naked ninja, which also was very inspiring to me. I made a bunch of games about naked ninjas. Like, the theme today is like edgy teenage bad humor, right? This level just starts with killing you. Also very great. Yeah, I saw someone ask about the rotation jump, if this was the first game. I don't know, but it's definitely the easiest way to animate a jumping thing. And then I really liked it, and I forced Paul and Roy to keep it in Super Great Box, even though Paul was like, no, I want to animate a real jump cycle. Oh wait, I think these are platforms that break, so you can like get to the hearts or something. If I had like the determination, I would absolutely try and beat this game, but there's no way in hell. How long did I spend working on a game like this? I'm sure I didn't work on this for more than 1 or 2 weeks. Greg the Egg took a bit longer because it's big. But most of these games are more about the ID than about the execution. So it's like a fun concept and then just going for it. Alright, that's assgame. Certified classic. I would actually still recommend this to people who like really punishing games. What were you doing? Oh yeah, this game also gives you really mean messages when you shut it down. It's like, it's just rubbing it in. It's just dumb. Alright, extreme gardening. This also needs a mouse and I don't have a mouse. Yeah, that skull is my old Twitter profile. It's similar. I just liked drawing skulls for a very long time because I'm very bad at art. You do a ton of prototypes. Did you ever struggle with actually finishing a full-blown game? That's my biggest issue I'm working on. So for me, the reason I started making so many small games is actually to practice finishing games. I also had a super hard time finishing projects because they were very ambitious and you know, I just could never get them done. So I started making very small games in like, you know, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. And then that helped me practice finishing stuff, and I was more confident to make slightly larger things like Gregg the Egg, or even assgame is slightly larger. So yeah, the soundtrack for this game was done by I Broke the Build, but I don't have the final version of this game on my computer because it was a Flash game, and Flash died like last week or something. And this was kind of the Game Maker version. At the time I used to make games in Game Maker and then someone would port them to Flash for me. I got ripped off horribly by a bunch of porters at the time as well, like lots of weird stuff going on. Some of them were great, but the one who did this game was nice actually. But so the Flash game has the music, this one doesn't. I'm very sorry. But let's give it a try. At the time, I was making mostly action games, very violent. And my mom was always like, why are you making such violent games? So I made extreme gardening as kind of a thing to show her, like, I made a cool game and it's not with killing. I can do that, don't worry. So in this game, you get 3 seconds to look at a tree. And then you have to copy the shape with the mouse. Wait. 3 seconds in like non-laggy time. Alright. You have 10 seconds to make the cut. I think this is still like, this is good game design. It's a fun concept. Like, it's not presented in the perfect way where you see how much time you have to look or something, or after I complete it I don't see what it should have been or what I did wrong. It just shows you the percentage you got right. But this was cool. Also, for a friend's birthday once, I made a version where you had to cut his beard into different famous beards. Alright, gold. Nice. So the shapes get more complicated. At some point you're doing like Rodin style sculptures executed in this terrible pushy style. Alright, let's put on some music. Putting on those ones, latest album, G is for Job. I think this was like a pair, right? The leg is unfair. It's helping me. So I'm messing up more. Yeah, that was for Jonathan. Port this to phone and get money. Yeah, it would make a cool game. I'm sure there's similar games, right? So how did I make it compare the trees and assign the metals? Basically, it knows where there are supposed to be bits of tree and where there aren't, and it checks like if it's completely right or not. Alright, square hoop. Yeah, it's just tile based really, but the shapes are not very square, so it looks kind of rough. I still kind of think this is like an early accidental good design. I think I got $500 selling this to Flash sponsors, and the porter took like half of it. But still, it was really nice. get some money from my games back then. And it's also how we started Flambeer. We started selling flash games. We made radical fishing. Silver. So there's another thing about this game. If you go to the menu, you see kind of how good you've done. If you get everything gold, a letter shows up and you can read it, and it's just this note that I hand wrote that says, wow, you really have a lot of time on your hand, or you must have cheated. This is impossible. No one can get all the levels gold. Kisses and hugs, JW, or something like that. And then 2 years or something after it released, I got a super angry email from someone who went through all the effort to get all gold on this game and played for hours and did it super well. And they were just like, I did this, and as a reward you disrespect me. And that was a big lesson, right? Like, I would never... I will never do something like that again in a game. You don't want to talk down to your players for actual things they've achieved. Like, it was dumb. That was a great game design lesson for me at the time. I felt really sorry. I think I hope I sent them an email back saying like, hey, I'm sorry. Incredible. I didn't think anyone would be able to do that or something. I think I was 16 or 17 when I made this game. Yeah, it was mean. It was straight up mean. I thought it was funny. I just thought no one would see it. I hadn't actually thought through the consequences of this message, right? Like, as a player, or as a teenager, you don't do that as often as you should. Anyway, that's Extreme Gardening. I think this game is pretty good. If you set your computer day to some time before this year, you should still be able to play the Flash version. Alright, let's get to some good games. Futurebike, Jupiter Showdown. I don't really remember when I made this game. It was for a retro sci-fi little game jam we did in the Poppencast, which was a community of cool people making games. Is a community, really. This one has music from Incompetech, which is like a royalty-free music thing. How did I learn to use Game Maker? I found it in a magazine when I was 11, and it said you can make your own games, and it had a screenshot of Metroid. I don't know why. Thought that was super cool. Super Metroid, I think. And I downloaded it and I messed around with it, and all I did was just edit some tutorial games. Like, I made the honk sound for the car sound like a cow, or I made Pac-Man, but you played as an orc that I drew in MS Paint. That's the kind of games I made, and I was just messing around. And for me, that's how I got started. It's just editing examples, and then years later, I got kind of back into it. A few years later, and just started making tiny, terrible games. Yeah, that was the trick for me. Is just get started and take your time. Learning stuff is hard. It takes a long time. So I think that's also why I still stick with gaming. Have you played with Pico 8? I opened it and it's too intimidating for me. Like, I'm not a great programmer. I just know GML and Game Maker very well. So as long as I can work with that, I probably will. Alright, Futurebike Jupiter Showdown. Let's do level 1. So this is a game you play as a bike. You go super fast, and I think you just go straight in the direction you're pressing. And if you go off the track, you die, and it's about kind of speed running, and there's jumps. This was made in, I think, in a day or so. I still really like it. It's kind of stylish. It has this weird trippy effects. Like, you know, people like Cactus and Massov were around the Game Maker scene at the time, making things with all these cool trippy visuals. And at the time, that was really inspiring to me. Just these small tricks you can do to make a game look better, which is important, right? Like, it needs to be appealing so people want to play it. And just things like having a scrolling background and the camera tilting were for me like, oh, I can do those things and it takes me 4 seconds to add to the game. And it will look cooler, right? Like, especially Cactus was and is a genius at that stuff. Just little layers of things. And that later also inspired, you know, the art of screen shake talk and just giving people really small things they can do to improve their projects. Yeah, you learn Photoshop in the same way. I think any tool, you just need to spend time with it until, you know, you're not terrible at it anymore. So in this game as well, there's sometimes people on the tracks. They're like Jupiter bad guys or something, and if you don't run them over, they shoot you for some reason. But it's a fun mechanic. It's kind of like, it's really hard, but I still like this game. I like playing it. There was a game on MS-DOS called like Sky Roads. I think that might have been an inspiration for this as well. Yeah, Cactus was a huge inspiration for me. Oh no. If I don't use the TV, it will shut down. This setup is wonky. So what we're playing here is Futurebike Jupiter Showdown. I'm gonna beat this game. I can do it. Yeah, Skyroads is great. The music also in this game is absolutely not fitting. It's like some super chill, mellow guitar stuff, but it's interesting, right? It's contrast. Yeah, the game over effect is just a square that kind of dithers away, but it looks cool. How did you start like playing video games and such? My brother was the one. I have an older brother, he's like 9 years older. He was into video games, and they were playing like MS-DOS games when I was very little. I was born in 1990. But then when I was a bit older, good games started happening. I started getting interesting, like Warcraft 2 was one of my favorite games for a while, and like Grim Fandango and like a lot of good games in 98, Half-Life. We're just like, alright, I really like video games now. But I liked making video games more, I think, which became a thing later than playing them. And for a long time I never really thought I really want to make video games or something. That was not really my goal, but then I found Game Maker and I really learned to enjoy the process. I think there's a secret shortcut in this level, but I'm not sure. A lot of my level design, especially back then, was just drawing random shapes, and then that's fine. It didn't get fine-tuned or anything. But it is fine, right? If it works, especially when you're trying to make small things to learn, why not? Where am I supposed to go? This is mean, like putting these two right after such a big bit of gameplay. And if you fail to hit them, you have to replay the whole thing. And here's like a sharp jump. Alrighty. This is how you drive your wheelchair. Making jumps, hitting Jupiter baddies. Alright, we did it. We are now the king of Jupiter. Finally. I like how the text at the bottom is not legible at all. It's just like white on white, so you have to read those narrow slits. Like that's style, that's deliberate, right? It's not bad at all. Alrighty. Next game on the list is If You Really Want It, You Can Fly, which is a game Rami can't shut up about, because in his opinion that's that's when he started to respect me as a game designer. I made that in game design school during a lunch break. I was making lots of very tiny games. Nobody reads the text, so you just don't let them. Exactly. You, famous hero, lost your power to fly. Press space to try. You should really, really want it. Alright, let's press space. Yeah. Didn't work. You, famous hero, lost your power to fly. Press space to try. You should really, really want it. Alright, let's mash the space button. Yeah, Roy and Paul, I made this in your office. I'm pretty sure. Ah, that didn't work either. Alright. Let's try again. Maybe we have to go further up. I really want it. If you really want it, you can fly. No. Am I flying? That head wobble. I think I'm suffocating. The audio in this game is pretty good. I think that makes it. So this was made in 2 hours, just... Yeah, I died. Alright, that didn't work either. You should really, really want it. Alright, come on. Everybody help me. We have to want this. We have to really want it. Come on. Fly. Use your mind powers. I need some help. I need some help here. Want it. Come on. Really want it. Yeah. Thank you everybody for helping out. If you really want it, you can fly. That's the game. So this is just a good joke. I think for small games, having a little punchline and then making a small joke is a super great way to go around it. I used to make a lot of dumb little jokes like this. A lot of it's also, right, it's kind of the dumb, edgy humor. I read a lot of bad webcomics at the time and I just thought it was funny. And it is, like, this one holds up. I still like this game. That's if you really want it, you can fly. You can try it yourself for some wanting design. Up next, Violent Diarrhea Unicorn. Made this at Paul's house. We did a game jam and the theme was shit. I think Cactus was there and Brian as well, maybe, and Paul. I like this art. I got slightly better at drawing at the time. I was also 17 or 18 around the time. Paul's mom made us like pizzas with cheese. It was super good. So in this game, you're a unicorn with diarrhea. I made this in an hour, very fast. And you can press up to kind of propel yourself. And you have to pop all the balloons. And try to keep the level clean. Indie games at the time, and then you get a high score. Right, 57% clean. We can do better than that. Super tiny game, but once again, it's like this small mechanic and gimmick, and it's kind of funny depending on who you ask. It's pretty hard too. So I think this is still a great way to start making games. You see a lot of cool young game designers nowadays make like little GIFs on Twitter, and this is exactly the kind of game, like, it doesn't really need to be a game. You can just put a GIF on Twitter nowadays and people like it, right? And then you go on to the next thing. It also has this weird visual effect where there's a gradient on top of the screen and the top is like slightly more red, which is like, the sound is good. This is terrible. Oh. Wow, this is violent diarrhea unicorn. It's not a violent game, the diarrhea is just violent, right? But also, very juvenile humor, it's a joke. But I made this, you gotta show it. Yeah, these 1 hour games were super formative for me. Alrighty. I have to stop saying alrighty though, because if that's gonna be like my streamer signature thing, I will hate myself. Okay, the gutter. This game is, I don't know, let's just play it. This is from when I was a different type of game designer. I made this together with Robin, who was a friend of mine who was in the same school. We were studying game design at the HKU. And this was kind of a joke response to The Graveyard by Tale of Tales. Which was a art game that's kind of cool, where you play a old person at a graveyard and you sit on a bench and then I think you walk back and that's it. And that was right around the time when art games became a thing, and I was like extremely against it. I don't know why. I love that stuff now, but also I was 17 and dumb, and I thought, you know, games should be about gameplay. Gameplay is all that matters. I don't care about graphics, and I didn't really connect artistic intent with that. I just thought, you know, anything that's not purely about gameplay is bad, which was dumb. But in this game you play as a homeless person living in the gutter, drinking booze, and you can like drink a lot and throw up, and it's exactly the same as the graveyard game. I don't know, I feel kind of terrible, like this is a mean dumb thing. At the time I thought it was hilarious. There's a storefront there that has dumb jokes on it, but that was kind of the shitty gamer culture at the time. Oh, you can see the front. That's fancy. Nuclear Throne doesn't even have that. So I met Tale of Tales after this at a conference, and then we all laughed about it, and I was like, wow, they're really nice. They actually laugh about the gutter. The best part about this game is the credits. We just thought that making games that were not about gameplay was pretentious or something. But I very quickly learned from this, and I think, you know, my favorite games nowadays are what I would have called art games back in the day. Like, I like making gameplay, but I don't really play games that much for gameplay most of the time. You know, give me a good, you know, story or not even that. I don't know. I like stuff like Hohokum, where it's just beautiful and nice to be in the world and easy. Making hard games is fun, playing hard games is hard. It does feel very like a kind of respectful thing to watch the full credit. Yeah, I love Firewatch too. I have played Inside, but also that game is too hard for me. It's like, oh, look at this beautiful stuff. You're dead. I don't like that. Like, give me a checkpoint. Let me go past that. There's so many games to play. If you do stuff like that to me, I will stop playing. I'll play something else. Scenario. We made a website for this, and there was a paid version of the game, and if you paid $5, you got that version. I think we sold 2 copies, and in it you get hit by a truck that says Faith on it halfway through the game. That's the paid version. Yeah, no accessibility options here either. But this one is really accessible though. You don't even need to do anything. But that's definitely something I needed to learn later, right? I'm still learning and getting better at. If you enjoyed the free version of The Gutter, you might want to buy the full version. It costs $5 and adds 1 feature. Death. That's artistic. Thanks. This game Yeah, so the truck doesn't say fate, it says faith. But I think that was a typo and we meant fate. So yeah, that's the gutter. We're gonna get to some slightly better games now. 10,800 zombies. Also music by Tim Forsyth, who did the music for Gregg the Egg. But this one has more songs, so we're gonna keep it playing. So this game is not good at all, but I think I found my confidence here. It's a platform shooter about killing zombies, and it's really boring and straightforward. Let's see the credits section. Sounds Half-Life and Sold Out. Wow. Whoa, I shut it down. How do I go back? I must have paid for royalties. So this game was inspired by Detail's Law, which was a very good zombie shooter made by Feared Machina, game maker game, which was one of my favorites. It was just so intense. And type my name. You can pick your character from 3 men. Yeah, rehire right now. You can play as Joe Average. Chapter 1. Sold Out had great guns on, and they were just in the folder, right? If they're in the folder, that meant that you could use them to me. Because otherwise, why would you put them in the folder? I don't know where I got the sounds from Half-Life. Anyway, kick-ass meaty metal soundtrack. Later we had some meaty metal in the jukebox in Minute. Press down to pick things up. Alright, this is a nice tutorial here. This has like very JW art, where I started finding this style that was really easy for me to make and people found it kind of palatable, so I just went with that. And it has very big blood. I think that was kind of what I was saying about confidence. It's just like, this game I'm just going all in. It's not good, it's kind of boring, but it starts to get that kind of screen shaky game feel stuff. Let's see, and there's enemies with shotguns. All the enemy designs in this also are just like, this one moves left and right, this one stands still and shoots, which is, I think, a great way to design enemies still, where it just becomes kind of part of the level design. And the whole reason this game works is just your line of sight is tiny. So it's intense, it's kind of jump scares, right? Like you don't know what's gonna happen next. So while in Gregg the Egg that was unintentional, that you didn't know what to do next, in this game it was also unintentional, but it works. People liked this game at the time, I think. There was also a friend of mine, Rolf Soldat, who was making the most impressive zombie game maker shooter that I really liked, and I think that was an inspiration for this as well. It's like, well, I'm gonna make a zombie platformer too. His had really good pixel art, if I remember correctly, and you had dual pistols, and then if you ducked, the character would like shoot in 2 directions. I thought that was a super cool mechanic. I still think that's a super cool mechanic. Anyway, this game, also it's a full game. It has like 4 different worlds with a boss fight, and this one was also ported to Flash, and I have kind of terrible experience where the porter kept adding features to the game. So like the Flash version has like an ugly bloody font, like Chiller or something, and also he added more characters and like upgrades, I think because the sponsor wanted it, but also I just kind of disassociated with the game and just let him do his thing. But that's the version of this that most people played. It's just a weird Flash version. The music is way more intense than the game has any right to let it be, but it works. Here's a secret. And here you can get an item. I like that the crates are explosive. It's not really... It's like a shield, and it doesn't really work. Like you can deflect the shotgun shots from the enemies, but not... You'll still get hurt a little bit. So it was like the intention that counts, right? Oh, it worked here. You see, I took some damage there. So after this game, I kind of felt like, oh, I like making platform shooters. I want to make another one. And for many years, I didn't really manage to make anything that was this good. Not that this game is good, but it's like pretty okay, right? And to top that, you need to go significantly more okay. But eventually that led to just simplifying down, which became Super Great Box. So this game is kind of important to my career, I guess. 10,800 zombies. I should have used the shields. Ammo 3. I also like that you can just carry 2 guns and you don't pick up ammo, so you kind of have to puzzle your way around to make the most effective use of that, which is a pretty good basis for a game like this. Why 10,800? I made this for a game jam originally, which was a 3-hour game jam, and there's 10,800 seconds in 3 hours. And then I don't know, I named the game after that, but I spent a lot more time on it just to finish it. Let's see, I think there's a boss fight. It's a zombie frog. So, at the time, I didn't have any money for video games. Video games are expensive and were always expensive. So, a lot of my inspiration for games came from this games magazine that I read. And I would just look at screenshots and imagine what the games were like. So I must have like seen some Resident Evil 3 or 4 or something. It's choppy. The game is choppy though. It might be that, but I must have seen like some zombie frog in a game in there and thought I'm gonna put that in my game. Let me see if I can do something about performance. All right, we got that. Is it still lagging? Maybe there's a memory leak. Oh yeah, it could be the game. Let me just get to the exit here. A lot of professionals are using Game Maker to make games. Well, maybe not, but I am. Let me just reboot that and see if I can restart from that area. Is it better now? Where do I need to learn how to see like the CPU stats and stuff. Well, I hope that works and we can play the chapter 2. Well, let's hope it fixes itself. New weapon with 1 ammo. So I watched a YouTube video of someone playing this, and they were like, the grenade launcher is really important, you have to save the ammo, and we're doing all kinds of weird like navigating the level just to keep that 1 grenade. I don't know why the grenade launcher only had 1 grenade in it, but I'm sure that was not intentional game design or anything, which is a lot of what you learn as you design more games. It's like, ask yourself why, and every decision eventually becomes intentional. Before that, a lot of it for me was just like gut instinct. Is it still dropping frames? It seems better now. Well, I think I might just have to close this game down every now and then. Whoa, you die when you exit the level? Badass. I'm gonna see if there are cheats here. Maybe not. No. There are. Are there? Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna show you some of these terrible boss fights. My thoughts on Unity is that it's not for me, I think, but who knows, one day I'll have to pick it up. If I ever want to make a 3D game. This screen shake is intense. Yeah, I don't have a controller plugged in. We will work our way through the lag, and then for future streams I hope I have a slightly better setup. I don't know, this game, like, still... I still think every now and then, like, I could do a pretty cool demake, but also it's just so dumb. It's just a zombie shooter, which is... That was like... I don't know. That's like the most boring thing you can think of. So that makes it interesting, right? As well, it's like, this is this really mundane thing. Let's see if we can spice it up. Well, jumping zombies. Exactly like the frog boss. Also, these buttons and stuff, I really don't like that kind of level design anymore. This kind of door and key stuff is usually in games it's not good. It just means backtracking for no reason. Give me like an ability that lets me go somewhere, or put it in a framework that's interesting. But this is just a linear platformer. Don't waste my time. Jump pads, badass. Anyway, you can kind of see that these games are getting slightly better though, compared to like Gregg the Egg and stuff. It's still not quite something I would tell people to go play. Oh, there's a boss in this level, I think. There's a health bar. I like how you can bypass a lot of the enemies. And I'm running out of ammo. And also, like, there's no anticipation there. You get shot. Always. Let's see. Oh, this boss. I remember this. You have to shoot the eyeballs, which is not communicated in any way. But the idea, like, he shoots to the side and you jump through the mouth. Like, it's pretty cool, right? Like, at least it's imaginative. And it has, like, this weird mouth drawing. The art is not really consistent with the rest of the game. I'm using OBS right now. Is it still running entirely? So with 3D, alright, I'm done. I'm gonna shut this down. 3D just requires a whole different tool set. Like, the math gets more complicated, and then the tools you need to make 3D games, you know, also there's more stuff you need to do. So for me, it's something I just don't have experience with it. I've made like Wolfenstein style games, but you know, it's just not something that's in my skill set yet. And also, I love making 2D games. All right, let's get to the one and only game that people have been waiting for. jwrpg. This game used to be called 4-Hour RPG because I made a gem version in 4 hours once again. And then Paul suggested his name to me, Paul Veer Pizza Pete, because it's like my name and a joke with like JRPG or Western RPG. But it's not really an RPG. It's just a dumb procedurally generated hack and slash. Music by Brother Android. Very good music. He also did the soundtrack for Hero Core around the time, which is still one of my favorite indie games and indie game soundtracks. It's super good. This was way before the Adventure Time Jam. This was also, let's see, 2007 or something. 2008. We worked on this for almost an hour and never finished it. At some point, almost a year, not almost an hour. At some point, we released it into the wild as an abandoned kind of game. So let's play. Also, I'm playing with a touchpad and it's gonna be terrible. So you have this randomly generated world map with all these biomes, as the kid call it nowadays. We used to call it levels or something. I don't know what we called it, but biomes was definitely not a word pre-Minecraft. Yeah, I have copies of most of these games. Whenever I get a new computer, there's like one folder with old projects that just nested down and down and down, and I put my new projects in there as well. And I have a bunch of old computers around, but still, I probably lost, I don't know, Game Maker files and stuff to most of these, if they're even still runnable, right? I like this music a lot, yeah. I also like the waves. So Paul joined in this project to help improve the art, and I think the process was cool though. Like, I just drew terrible art and Paul redrew it. So some of this is still like scribbly waves. The whole game used to look like that, and then some of it actually looks much better, like the portrait. I think the UI for this was very inspired by Monster Hunter, right? So you can walk around and slash. So this is like proto-Nuclear Throne, really. Except that the combat is not actually fun. All enemies deal like contact damage, and I don't know. Let's see if we can find the boss and beat this level. Ooh, a goblin. Also, I've never really liked fantasy. Maybe because I'm scared of horses. I don't know. But this game was like, alright, let's make a fantasy game because it's dumb. That was my reasoning. I think the idea was to make it kind of a satire or something, but oh no, I'm gonna die. Yeah, you need a mouse to play this. Oh yeah, I'm gaining experience at the bottom. A lot of so the combat in this game is just kind of get close and then get far, which is not the most fun. Yeah, we did the Wind Waker style smoke. So much of the ways that we do stuff come from basically games you played, Paul. The blue bar is mana, but I don't know if I can use that yet. Oh yeah, maybe. My right mouse button is broken on this laptop, so I'm not gonna use that much. But later you can play as different classes and that becomes much more interesting. Alright, I leveled up. Level 2 novice. The square nose characters, I think they were just... Oh, I deal more damage, that's good. Were just a thing that some cool artists that I knew were doing and I copied it. I don't know. It's like one of those things where you just learn lots of shortcuts every time. Like, ooh, if I draw a big red nose, then it looks interesting, but it doesn't really mean anything. And then Paul just made the big nose look good. I don't know if I remember correctly. I like the levels in this. It's just like square floors randomly strewn around, and then on top of them they draw, below them actually they draw a black shadow, and then below that there's a big background that just has a rock texture. But it kind of looks like a top-down view, you know, it doesn't really look like it's the other way around. It looks like you're inside the level. I don't know. It was a great way to make a game in like 4 hours. I wouldn't ship it, but sometimes it's all about knowing the right shortcuts. Where's the boss? Let me fight a giant blob. So this game had a lot of different levels and classes and stuff. Yeah, there we go. I don't know if I can beat this. Ooh, critical hits. Boss music. I need a mouse. Another critical hit. I got this. I think if I die, you just get thrown right back into the map. No! This is only hard because of my mouse. Alright, we did it. Then you hit a chest a bunch of times. Alright. So I unlocked the guild, and here you can pick your class, and they all have like a different special ability. It's a bit like what's it called? Nuclear Throne, right? Except there's no passives, and all of this uses mana, which I don't think is very interesting. You're just waiting to use something, and waiting is never really my favorite in game design. So some of these still have my art, some of them have Paul's art. You can kind of see the difference. Let's see which ones. Oh, there was a rogue, which looks kind of like an @ symbol. Be a bear, beat shit up. That sounds good. 3 seconds of fire stashes. Fucking cloak. The necromancer was fun, I think. So this game, I made a prototype in 4 hours. And then we just added content over the course of a year. But I can't say we spent more than like a month on it or 2. I don't know. Time was weird back then as a student. You have so much free time. What's up, Mark? Welcome. Yeah, thanks so much everybody for joining in and checking out this Strange Pilot stream. I am excited to start playing like later games and talking about actual deliberate game design. The Filthy Forest. Let's summon as a skeleton. Yeah, we did assgame. It was hard. That's a cool sound. Oh, elves. The most hated of fantasy creatures. They're just basically rich kids. Ooh, and there's like boars or something. I don't know. I didn't make it. So I'm just playing it. I'm kidding. I like the skeleton arm claw thing. It also has exactly the same kind of attack animation as the melee weapons in Nuclear Throne. And like, I thought we took that from Hotline Miami, but it might have been like some other older cactus game, or I don't know. Oh, you can hit the arrows back. I think the boss here is a tree. I wish there were cheats. Are those skunks? Oh no, that's a zebra. A zebra. So there's mounts. I'm now a necromancer plus Z. So I know some people say zebra, like in South Africa, and other people say zebra. I'm just gonna alternate. In the Netherlands we say zebra, which is probably even better. So I'm just faster now. Oh yeah, there's the boss. I think this one doesn't do anything. He just comes at you with rotating arms and you try to not get hit by the arms. Let's summon some more skeletons. Oh, I don't have enough mana. There's like mana pools and potions that drop in the levels sometimes too, but oh, my skeleton is stuck. This game, it's a wild ride. But at least I have a striped horse. Come here. Come. Attack this. This big tree. Yeah, Tolkien would be proud of us. The character is a motorcycle. Yeah, it's a necromancer on a zebra. Alright. And there's more buildings here you can unlock too, but I don't know what they do. Zebra. Alright. I wonder if I keep my mounts. So this one has a dragon boss, I think, which is kind of cool. Wow, look at Parallax. Crystal background. So this is basically the crystal caves from Nuclear Throne. Like, everything comes full circle. Give me a skeleton. Yeah. Bats. Classic video game. A lot of my stuff was very, and still maybe, is like very inspired by just dumb tropes that video games have, and like stuff like having beds in caves. Like, why is that a thing? It makes sense, but also it doesn't. Ooh, wait, that's not a dragon. That's like a weird ass demon. Whoa. I think this one like teleports and shoots a beam at you. So it's also like everything in this game is just super simple behavior. But kind of cool and interesting. I get why we liked this game. It was just fun to make content for something that felt big. Where did he go? So, you never played the game when you made the music? I think this soundtrack is really good. Like, these are all bangers. Yeah, maybe it doesn't fit, but the game doesn't fit either, right? So, it's all good. Whoa, a dwarf with like axes. Oh no, I am screwed now. I thought this boss was gonna be easy and then it teleported to the dwarf zone. Yeah, alright, get that chest. Give me a skeleton. Help me. Alright, new building. Perks? Whoa. So the text doesn't rap. Sword liquor. I'm definitely taking that. A map. Let's go. Shoplifter. Good boots. Big eyes. This one, it's probably not implemented because there's an X in front of the title. I still do that in games. How do you get new ideas for your games? Do you have any technique, or they just appear magically? I think it's very important to just kind of be open to getting inspired by life and you know, going outside and just looking at the world through that lens of like, is this something interesting to me, or what are the things that I find interesting? And I think most of the inspiration for games nowadays I just get from it used to be like travel and going to new places. That is not really happening anymore, but I think the main thing for me is looking outside of games as a medium, and then also some of the really dumb things games always do is also kind of interesting. Long arms, what? Goes way back. Right, more HP, let's go. Pacifist, you deal more damage. Yeah, I don't know what I was going on about. This game is very unfinished. I still use GameMaker Studio 1. I just hate the workspace that doesn't really stack in GameMaker Studio 2. So this game was made 99% of the process in GameMaker Studio 1, and then near the end we ported it to 2 minutes as well. Yeah, you should check out Brother Android's Bandcamp. Let me just drop a link and get these sweet tunes. I'm gonna need some mods at some point who can do this cool stuff. Here's a link. You can change the way it looks in GameMaker Studio 2. There's skins and stuff, but yeah. Do you still use that freeze bug to get that hit feel? Nowadays I just program it, but it's a good trick for sure. Alright. The Deadly Desert. This level is fun. There's a big worm or something and you can get camels. And there's scorpions, I think, to fight. And mummies, classic. I keep dealing more damage. I think you can even like grind and level up in just replay levels and become really strong. Like this is almost like, say you polish this up and made the combat interesting. This is something you could put on Steam or something now. It didn't age perfectly, but it's still a very like, there's a lot of imagination to it, which I think is a great quality to have as a game. Even though it's all just taken from other things, right? It's not like it's super original, but it still feels like a real world. Yeah, the scorpion tail is kind of cool with this buggy attack. Yeah, at one point I'll get used to Game Maker Studio 2 when I have to, but I don't have to yet. I think there might be another update coming soon, like after that maybe. Did you plan the stages one by one or had an idea of it all in one chunk? I think with most ideas we would, whatever team I'm working with, we sit down and we just write a bunch of stuff down. It's very easy to come up with lots of ideas and then you just look what's fun. But back in the day I would just do everything. Like, oh, we need a desert, we need caves, we need a forest. What's the types of land there? I'm sure there's a frozen area, you know? It's just all very trope inspired, and even Nuclear Throne is like that, right? It's just like post-apocalyptic tropes that we built this world and we just kept asking, why is it the way it is like this? Why is this? And that's how you get lore, you know? That's how you kind of add depth to, whoa. Add depth to a world. It's just ask yourself why, and find answers that make sense. Boss music, let's go. I am still bad at coding snake physics. Like, they never really work, but I've always tried because I think this is one of the most impressive things you can have in a video game. I don't really have thoughts about Oprah acquiring yo-yo games. I do know that it is probably nicer for the team to be working with Oprah than with a gambling company, but I don't know, might be wrong. I am not a professional opinion haver, luckily. Come, Snake, fight me. Also, I got a map. Oh wait, I spawned a camel. Did I press a cheat? Whoa! I can spawn camels. This is way more fun. See, already I'm finding something that's more fun in this game. There's cheats. Nice. I like how it has this terrible interface. It just said Necromancer plus CA. I have some camels. I'm like the Oprah of jwrpg. You get a camel. You get a camel. I like the floor tiles in this. Those weird squares and things are cool. You're riding like 10 camels. Yes, I am. What about it? Yeah, all my opinions are unprofessional. They're like hobbyist opinions. Alright. I am close to done with this game. Let's see if we can get killed by a snake. We have 2 more shorter games to check out after this. And then I'm gonna figure out a schedule to kind of stream everything else I've worked on. I think we'll start with Super Great Box probably and work our way up chronologically. Play most of it. Ridiculous Fishing will be difficult to play because it's on mobile. But everything else, let's go. But yeah, I hope this is interesting and it's fun to me. It's kind of nostalgic playing all this trash. Scorpion. So how do you view the map? Oh, whoa. Whoa! Are those purple things enemies? Yeah, if you are liking this, hit the follow button. And oh wait, those are camels. Amazing. Yeah, this map is just like in Diablo or something. You just hold a button and it's on top of everything, right? That's how real games do it, then why shouldn't I do it like this? Yeah. Where's the boss? Ooh, mana. Nice. What's that? Oh. Throwing boulder person? A golem? Whoa, it explodes. Cool. So that here on the right there's a natural camel that actually spawned in the map. Hello. Let's get another skeleton here. Also I get money, but I don't know what I spend money on yet. Yeah, you should back up all your old work if you can. I watched a Vice documentary recently about this tattoo artist in I think LA or San Francisco, and he just has this massive archive, like proper temperature control of everything from his very first childhood drawings up until, you know, art he does now. And it's kind of interesting, as a tattoo artist, all his art will die at some point and be gone, and he's okay with that, but he's also very much like, I need to preserve the things I've done. It was cool. I'm not that... Well, yeah, there... We found the boss again. Imagine having a game where you can't find the boss just because it's randomly moving around the level. That's also not very good game design. But I'm glad we can still check this out, you know? Like... I wouldn't say they're, like, good games or anything, but they were super important to teaching me how to make games. Who's gonna win? Necromancer plus cat or a big worm? It's just like that one David Lynch movie that everybody loves. Oh, you had a fire and lost all your backup drives? That's terrible. Alright. So what else haven't we seen here? There's lava. Here's... Oh, that's underwater, I think. And then there's snow. Let's play as a different class, actually. Dust magic balls. I think there's one that... Yeah, this one has a cool special, and I can get another perk. You get twice... No. The Ghastly Glacier. Cool snow effect. On top of the black lighting thing. Snowman? I like that, you know, like most Frozen games it would be like, oh, this is a snow wolf. I have snow wolves, but also snowman shooting carrots. So I think with this ability I can just crank up the size of my sword and do like double damage, and I can stack it. I just want to save it for the boss. Yeah, the classes in this are more like, what do you feel like using, almost like a loadout type thing. Like a lot of these decisions weren't necessarily deliberate or anything, but they worked, so you just stick to it. Yeah, I also really love not keeping too much stuff around, but still for like, whoa, mammoths. For like work and creative output, it's kind of different. Like there's no reason these games should be lost. Alright, that's... Oh, there's the boss. It's the Yeti. Okay, let's do this. That didn't do as much damage as I hoped. I like how this game is kind of easy. It's just about dealing with the wonky bad controls and the contact damage. I think this game was also inspired by friends playing World of Warcraft. I never played it myself, but I must have had lots of ideas about what it was like or something. I also definitely remember making like a Warcraft 3 fan game when I was 14 or 15. And it just used ripped assets from their site. They had really cool animated GIFs. Oh, Swamp. Different class, let's do it. Ranger was cool, I think. You can shoot arrows. I like the swamp effect. How do I whoa, critical hit. Oh, these have too much health. I want to see what the enemies are here. Like crows or something. Classic Disney swamp stuff. And these go underwater? Are those the turtles? Or are they like... I think these were supposed to be like... Whoa! Vomiting turtles! Okay, what's the boss? I need a camel. Oh, you can't spawn camels in this level. Yeah, they had a Doom clone tutorial on the Game Maker site, and like one called Speed Racer about a car. There was a really bad platforming tutorial for a while with terrible art. Anyway, years later, this basically became Nuclear Throne. That's kind of cool. Let's play two games that I still kind of like. First, Coptra. Wait, there's a good Flash version of that online. I think Brother Enrid also did the soundtrack for that, but I don't know if this Game Maker build has that. Yeah, I work on a laptop. Yeah, so this was... I think I was getting confident with my games at some point. And this was definitely one of those where I'm like, alright, I can make... So there's a Flash version that's much better than what I'm playing now. But this is just an arena shooter with like 3 enemy types and stackable power-ups, and it has really cool explosions. And it's instant kill. Back in the day, the best freeware games really were mostly shoot 'em ups. Like there were some really good Japanese freeware shoot 'em ups online. And me and a lot of my friends were very inspired by them. Just the fact that there were good games you could play for free was kind of amazing. Oh, stream is lagging? Yeah, the game is lagging terribly. So there's a version of this on like Newgrounds that probably doesn't run anywhere. Whoa, that's intense. It draws a line, what kills you. That's Contra, it's very straightforward, but I think this game was like short, sweet, it has style. Shout, get some. Oh, it shows tips when you die. I kinda like this game, but I made another shoot 'em up that I think It's even better. This was like probably maybe the last game I released before Super Crate Box, and we started Flambear. This is Atomic Super Boss. Arrow keys to move, he fires. You move slower while firing. The closer you get, the more you hit the boss. Only your cockpit can get hit. Option. Die from all attacks to unlock secret. Music by Dominic, who was in my class. I have no idea what happened to him. He dropped out at some point, but he made really cool chiptunes. Thanks to some friends. It's like me. Alright. So this is yeah, so like Roy said, this game is also kind of similar to Ultra Bugs, which is an upcoming Flambear release. Also shoot 'em up where you shoot 5 bullets at a time. That we're making together with Roy de Groot and Chipsel doing the soundtrack, and Jonas Turner's doing sound effects, and then Rami is gonna release it one day. Maybe I'll stream that at some point. I don't know, when we get to the future games. But this game, it's a boss fight, and you cannot kill the boss, you just get score, and it's how many of your bullets hit the boss. If you're far away, it's fewer bullets, and then if you're close, it's all of them. So you get score faster, and the boss does different patterns. I don't think it gets harder, it's just kind of an endurance thing, which was something I liked a lot at the time. Like Super Crate Box as well, it's just endurance, it doesn't get harder or anything, there's different modes. But yeah, that's Atomic Super Boss, but oh, and the boss flips sides sometimes. It's just a very simple game. I think it made a good Flash game too. Yeah, so there's a screen border and the game continues outside of it. I think it's always good to kind of have this clarity as to what the enemies are doing. Like you can see the bullets go out of it. I think your movement is restricted, but it feels more fair somehow because you can clearly see the border instead of it being the edge of the screen. I don't know, I like Other Bugs is the same thing. I still kind of like that. Discroom does it as well. This music's kind of good too. Alright, I died. And then there's like stats if you've died from all the attacks. I'm gonna do one more game. I think this one used to have online high scores. Yeah, Jonas is super good. Chipsel too. So this game, honestly, it's running terribly now because of my setup. But it's fun. It holds up. I think here I knew, alright, I can make a game and I know how to make it work instead of just hoping it would work and hoping that people would like it. And you know, before that it was just like, I'm just gonna make stuff and the only person who's gonna like it will probably be my brother or something, because he was always very supportive. And all my friends were like, why are you making this trash? I don't want to play it. Which is very motivating as well, right? Like, I'm gonna prove you wrong. This attack is cool too. So, you know, this game, it's not necessarily super original, but the things it does pretty well. And it's put together in a solid way. And it was also kind of the start where I started figuring out these more minimalist game mechanics, like why should you not fire in this game? Well, if you don't fire, you're faster. And also, why should you go close to the boss? Well, you get score faster, and it's kind of this risk-reward. Very simple systems taking care of more than the sum of their parts in a way, right? It's just two little things that make the whole gameplay fun and captivating. And then you have this minimalist system, but also this kind of chaotic, random, maximalist thing where there's lots of different attacks. And you know, the boss is not minimalist. The boss has like 10 different things he can do, and it's not really tightly controlled. It's not like it's always this one first. It's just completely random, and that's something that I've always kept doing. Ooh, missiles. Like Super Crate Box is the same. Super minimalist system. You get score for crates. Enemies spawn at the top, they go to the bottom, and then there's this like huge variety of weapons, and you never know what you're gonna get. So it's not minimalist in that way. There's a lot of content. Like same with Disc Room even, or recently, where it's a minimalist game. The core concept is super easy to explain, but then there's so much variety and all these different things that we try with it. Yeah, I'm having a good time playing this. It's the most fun I've had all night playing one of my own old games. I like Futurebike Jupiter Showdown too. That one was fun to play. I hope someone after the stream is gonna pick up assgame and beat it. That would be amazing. Let's see if we can get 2000. Also, the lag is helping me so much. But yeah, I'm gonna figure out a slightly better setup and a schedule and just stream everything. If you all wanna hang out in the future and come watch that would be awesome. Ask questions. But I'm almost ready to wrap this up. Let's die. Thank you all so much for hanging out, joining this stream. It's been kind of a blast. That was Atomic Super Boss. I am JW, and we'll see you in the future, hopefully. Cheers.